In the words of Bob Dylan, the times they are a-changing, but by how much? Well, today we're going to find out, everybody, because we are doing a retro superbike against a modern-day budget bike, XC edition. Now, back in the day, cross-country bikes and the technology on them was moving at an exponential rate. It was rapidly growing and expanding, trying all sorts of weird and wonderful things. From all sorts of carbon layup and carbon fiber frames becoming more commonplace to fork lockouts, suspension designs and everything else in between. But what I really want to know is, can a bike from yesteryear compete still with a budget bike of this year? Or has that technology become so outdated compared to what we have today that actually it still can't even make the cut against a more affordable bike on today's market? So first up, before we get thrashing these bikes, let's take a look at them. In the budget bike corner, we have this. Hui! The Orbea Onna 10 from 2022, a sub £1,000 hardtail, all aluminium construction, 1x11, it's quite the beast. So then the budget bike, the Onna 10. If you're looking to get into the world of XC, I think this is a great starting point. With some pretty good numbers actually, a 68.5 degree head angle, 74.5 degree seat tube angle, and an effective top tube of 614mm. 100mm RockShox fork up front gives you all the bump eating capacity you probably need. Full 29-inch setup here, a 1x11 Shimano group set with that narrow wide chainring at the front, just sort of giving it a nod to some sort of the more modern technologies out there. 2 bottle mounts so we can take lots of water on there. A nice wide handlebar at 720mm. No dropper post on this because it is the budget model, like I said. But you know what? It's got full hydraulic Shimano disc brakes again as well, so there's everything you could possibly need on there at an affordable price to get you going and racing out there. But how does it stack up against our superbike? And well, what superbike have I got lined up? For the old school superbike, I've got this. A 2007 Scott Spark Limited, but not just any Scott Spark Limited, no, this is an ex-Olympians. Now, Oli Beckingsale has very kindly entrusted me with his ex-Olympic bike from back in the day. So the parts and this bike range around between 06 to 08, so they're a good few years old now. And actually the technology on this bike isn't just sort of cutting edge for the time that it came out, it's actually ahead of the game. Almost even now, or current if you like. Things like actually this, just a quick point. This sort of Scott New DT Swiss collab shock kit is even running on, look, spherical bearings. Now you find that on things like an EXT shock, which costs about £1,000 these days. So it really is absolutely top of the line. If we run through it, I mean, there's all sorts of tech on this. You've got RockShox Sid World Cups with a carbon black box crown on the top. What I think is actually one of the most bonkers thing though is this frame. So this is a full carbon Scott Spark Limited, like I said. The seat post is integrated into the frame. Like you had to cut that thing exactly to where it was be. There's no sort of external or additional seat post that inserts into the frame. It's all molded, it's all one part, and you just had this tiny little clamp for a little bit of adjustments at the top. 3x9, that's mental to me to think about even those. So you've got a massive range of gears. The brakes on this are custom Hope brakes. They've even got Oli's Olympic rings for when he did the 08 Olympics with them engraved on there in a real nice blue color as well. Full 26-inch obviously. We've got titanium rear quick release on this. Custom Hope carbon brake levers. It looks like spaghetti junction going on at the front of here, and that's because we've obviously got brake levers, we've got 2 shifters, but we've also got front and rear lockout on the suspension as well, just adding to the madness that's going on there. I mean, this thing is absolutely mental. Now the angles on it, because it's also a size large, much like the Orbea Onna, is a 70-degree head angle, so 1.5 degrees steeper, 73.5 degree seat tube angle, so a little bit slacker there as well, and it's slightly shorter, 610 effective top tube. So just sort of going to prove that the modern way that bikes are gone, the longer, lower, slacker thing is very much in effect. Also sporting 100mm of travel front and rear. What's this thing like to ride nowadays on modern tracks? And how's it going to stack up against that budget cross-country bike? Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there, people? And that's to get out onto the trails. First up, the climbing test. We all know I love a good climb, and I thought we'd jump on the Orbea first to set a bit of a benchmark. Now, the Orbea weighs 13.7 kilograms, whereas the Spark weighs 11.9, and it's a full sus. So is that going to come into play, especially with the extra gearing going uphill? Well, I've picked a hill that's pretty standard. It should be about a couple of minutes long, I reckon. It's a good fire road to start, and it gets a little bit more tech, a little bit more loose as we get towards the top and steepens as well. So is the weight going to play a difference? Wheel size, gearing, there's only one way to find out. So, Mr. Editor, cue beeps on the screen, and ready? Okay. See you in a mo. So far, so good. I think this bike actually weighs more than the full sus Scott by about a couple of kilos. So I think that's where we're gonna certainly see a difference, especially as the climb goes on. Whew. Keep the traction going. Hardtail bouncing. Okay, we're gonna swing out wide for this tight left-hander. This is where it really starts to kick up. And this is where I think the harder gearing and the weight's gonna get me a bit. Oh, it's loose, I'm skipping. Oh, could have done that 3x9. Finito. Oh man, that was tough. I pushed pretty hard there. Right, over to the old superbike. Once I got my breath back, and let's see what kind of time that does. Whew. Okay, that's the climbing done, which means it's out with this one and in with this. Yes, and I thought a suitably old bike requires the correct attire to the climb. Time to race future rich. Retro rich incoming. See you at the top. Oh, let's go. Very narrow bars on this bike, 620 mil. Does make it a little bit twitchy. A bit of suspension at the back. It's absorbing those bumps as well. You can certainly notice the steeper head angle making it, you know, a bit twitchy up the front, should we say. Be interesting on the way down. Right, if you got it, flaunt it, engaging granny ring. Oh, stuff of dreams. I feel good. We're spinning nicely, good cadence. This bike climbs all right. This bike's wild. I think I'm gonna do a backflip. Yes, granny ring. Loves the granny ring. Oh! Hey, caramba! Okay, we've made it to the top, but we still got to go back downhill and try this thing on that, which means I'm not going to give you any times or stats or thoughts or feelings just yet. You're gonna have to wait till we've gone back down to the top of the downhill. Now, as we all know, what goes up must indeed go down, and I really want to push these bikes. So again, I've chosen some trails that are actually going to sort of put all the aspects of the bike, both new and old, to the test. So we've got a real nice, fun, flowy, jumpy, bermy section at the top, and then we're going to get into something a little bit rougher, where it might distinguish between the full sus and the hardtail. But we want to know times. We want to know what it feels like. Is it terrifying? Is it going to kill me? There's only one way to find out. I'll see you in a little bit. Goodbye. Right, downhill time, 100 mil travel. The forks are fully unlocked. 29ers, they are rolling fast. Nice bit of air. Oh, yes. That's carrying good speed, this bike. Handling's pretty nice. The dropper post wouldn't go on this, I tell you. Over the braking bumps and all the stutteriness. With this bike, 2.25 tyres, the other ones are slightly narrower, so it's got plenty of grip, goes well. Oh my gosh. That was a lively ride. Real fun at the top where it was smoother and faster and flower. And trying to carry speed where it got flatter and bumpier at the bottom was a bit tricky, even though it's got the bigger wheels. I've got a feeling that the vintage superbike could be a bit quicker down there. It's full sus. I know the smaller wheels, when it does get bumpy like that, are sometimes a bit of a disadvantage, but there's only really one way to find out, and that is to get to the back to the top. Right, top of the downhill. I'm hyped, bike's ready to rip. Now I know that 29 budget bike would have gone pretty well down here, but get lost bug, I'm feeling good. And when I'm feeling good, I'm on fire. See ya! Whoa. On the gas. The 26-inch wheels aren't too bad, but the twitchiness of the thing. Woo. Right, this is where, oh, it's rough. Oh, it does not like that steeper stuff. Oh, near the finish. Oh my lord, that's a huge compression. Come on, nearly there. Oh, come on, superbike. Yeah, that's how I roll. Woo! Okay people, the downhill is now done. That means all the riding that we're going to be doing today is finished. So we're going to need to crunch some numbers, but I kind of want to get out of this first. So, see you in a mo. But times then, because that's what I know you all want to sort of compare and contrast, because when we pitted these two bikes against each other, numbers don't lie, people. So when it comes to the uphill challenge, this was just over 2 minutes long. Now the cheap bike, the budget Onna, a respectable 2 minutes and 22 seconds. The vintage superbike, the retro beast, did it in 2 minutes and 15 seconds, 7 seconds faster. Now I put that down to a couple of different things. One, gearing bizarrely actually helped there. I mean, we've dismissed that 3x9 and that front mech. That's a thing of the past. It's dead, right? However, I gotta say, the gearing, when I could shift and had the range on this, certainly did help, especially when it got steeper. And it is almost 2 kilos lighter as well. And over sort of a couple of minutes, that is gonna add up. So 7 seconds and the first win of the day to the Scott Spark Limited vintage all the way. Now those numbers when it comes to the downhill. So the downhill section, remember, is slightly longer in time, and that's because our uphill was pretty direct and straight up there. The downhill had a fair bit of wriggling in it. The Scott Spark, the Limited, I'll tell you in a moment. But the Onna, 3 minutes, 5 seconds. Moving across. The Scott Spark Limited, full suspension, 100mm travel, remember 26-inch wheels and a seat post so high you could run a flag off of it. Did it in 3:22. So actually it's a little feral chunk slower there, you know what I mean? So, and I'm gonna put that down to a couple of things. One, it felt twitchy as anything. Honestly, it felt like I was going catapulted out of the front door most of the time. And the 26-inch wheels, they were bone shakers. Even with that full sus, when you'd hit the braking bumps and things like that, honestly, it was just rattling you to pieces. You know, it's a steeper head angle, it's a shorter wheelbase, it's a lively ride, and those narrow bars, literally, I mean, how, Oli? I don't know how you did it. The Onna then, longer wheelbase, slightly longer in the reach, bit more room for maneuver, 29-inch wheels. There's no rear suspension, I know that, but for the rolling capabilities, that 100mm travel, again, it actually was slightly more confidence inspiring, which meant I could push slightly harder in the turns, get a little bit more air under those tires and carry a bit more speed on the rough and choppy stuff. Now, bear in mind, back in the day, XC races would be like 2 hours plus long. So something like that probably would be faster then. But nowadays, times have changed, things have moved on. So it actually turns out that you can go real fast and have a good time on a budget XC bike. Anyway, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I think I'm gonna have to get this bike out on another ride if Oli will let me, but let me know in the comments. I'm out of here. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and until next time, toodle pip.